Welcome to the Existential Empath Podcast. My name is Tanya, and I am an intuitive empath. My intention is to share valuable tools and techniques that I have learned so you can tap into your own inner healer naturally and intuitively. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you are doing well. I have been wanting to put this podcast together for a while now, and I have finally gotten all of my information and thoughts together to record it. So I look forward to sharing this information with you about the healing power of sound. And we're going to dive into this a little bit today. And honestly, we aren't going to dive into it very much because there's so much information out there. So this is really just me planting a seed for each and every one of you to go and do your own research. And really, part of my podcast is just really planting seeds. I love to be able to just share a little tidbit of knowledge or wisdom that I have utilized to help me heal or to help me move through some obstacles in my life. And I love to be able to share this information with each and every one of you. So that way you can use your own discernment and dive a little bit deeper if you so resonate with that. So let's talk about the healing power of sound. So, why do certain rhythms, sounds, and vibrations feel good to us? It's because they can help us reduce stress and they create a deep sense of well being and they even promote healing in the body. So, I'm a firm believer that the problem with society worldwide is that we are taught from the time we are children to utilize chemicals to treat disease. And from the time we are actually in our conscious state, we are told to see your doctor. Ask your doctor if this drug will work for you. And we are told this thousands of times every year. And it gets repeated year after year after year. It gets repeated from when you watch television to the radio to when you visit the doctor to your friends. It's a part of the collective subconscious programming. And when we are subject to this, we oftentimes will rule out all of these other modalities that have been healing people for eons, for all the way back to ancient times. We've used some of these healing modalities, but many of us are so programmed to believe that we have to utilize pharmaceuticals in order for us to heal our body. And that is just a belief system, a BS, right? BS, I call that belief system. That's just a subconscious programming. And we can shift those thoughts. And many people will look at sound therapy as woo or out there, or that can't possibly work. But I do encourage you to have an open mind and to listen to some of the information that I have to share. And if you have, the capability to attend a sound bath or to go somewhere to utilize some of the frequencies and healing modalities I'm going to talk about today, then I encourage you to do so, to try it for yourself, because it may just change your mind. So we all know that sound can set a mood. When we listen to a song, it takes us back to a time, takes us back to a memory. I know for me, I grew up in the 80s. So every time I hear Foreigner, Journey, it takes me back to the skating rink, a time that I just loved. It was a time of peace and joy and happiness for me. And so music can really shift our reality. It can tune us into different dimensions and different aspects of self. And our body and our minds react differently to unrelenting noise of a jackhammer versus the trickling water of a creek or a river, right? So we know in our body that we sense different sounds and that we react to them differently. And a sound is just basically a mere vibration or a frequency. So some sounds make us feel better than others. Whether our conscious minds are paying attention to that or not, our bodies do take cues from these sounds and rhythms, knowing when to get energized or when to slow down. So music, sound, noise all play a huge role in our healing process. So research suggests that when we use sound in a direct way, it can help reduce stress. It can create a deep sense of well-being and even promote deep healing within our bodies. And sound therapy is gaining popularity as both a preventative medicine as well as a complement to more traditional treatment. So I'm a firm believer of holistic medicine. I'm a firm believer of bringing Western and Eastern medicine together. Working in healthcare for nearly 20 years, I did see some benefits to the therapies that they were providing. However, I also saw benefits to some of the holistic options to therapy that they were not providing, that I was actually researching and learning on my own. So, benefiting both the mind and the body, it has been shown that sound therapy can lift depression, it can clear sinuses, and it can even help cancer patients recover more quickly from chemotherapy. And I'm going to go into that in a little bit more detail, at the end of the podcast. So, what is sound healing, or what is sound therapy? The idea that sound affects the health of the mind and the body is not a new concept. This dates back to before Christ. It dates back to ancient Egypt. It dates back to the Mayans. Even Native Americans use this very simple healing modality. Chanting and mantra, they would recite that, have been a part of Hindu spirituality, and it has also been the healing power of yoga. So if you are one who goes to yoga, then you understand that oftentimes some of the music they play are some of the Gregorian chants. And you feel so good after you get out of yoga because you are in a state of alignment. The healing powers of sound um, go all the way back to ancient Egypt, when they used to use the power of the pyramids to heal ailments. People could drift off into different realms. 110 hertz was one where they would utilize to astral travel into different realities. And they would even utilize sound to send people off safely into the afterlife, and utilize sound to manifest things into their own reality. And there are certain brainwave states that we can access and pull ourselves in to manifest things into our reality, specifically theta, which is between 4 and 7 hertz. And when your mind is in a theta state, it can create strong visualizations, and it taps into our intuition and our internal knowledge, and it unlocks wisdom beyond our usual conscious abilities. So when we access the theta, we can reprogram our mind and strengthen our visualization techniques. Also, delta brainwave state is another one that's roughly between zero point 0.5 and 3 hertz. And those who can tap into the mind when they're in a delta brainwave state can dominate and completely change their reality. This is where Dr. Joe Dispenza talks very openly about this. And, many of my clients have gone to his retreats, and they have talked about how he can get them into these different, or teach them how to get into these different brainwave states. And so our unconscious mind is accepting of all of this, but we have to command it, in those brainwave patterns. So this is where sound therapy can assist us into getting into these deeper vibrational states of consciousness, or these expanded states of consciousness. So, what is sound healing exactly? So, sound therapy is one of a growing number of subtle energy therapies that make up the field of what's called vibrational or energy medicine. And according to the law of physics, everything vibrates. The chair that you're sitting in, maybe the bed that you're laying on right now, or the car that you're driving in, listening to this podcast, even the food that you eat has a vibrational frequency to it. Nikola Tesla stated, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. So whether or not we hear it, everything has a sound, everything has a vibration, everything has a frequency, because everything is energy. So that sound that we hear is called resonance, the frequency at which an object naturally vibrates. Each part of our body has its own natural resonance frequency. And vibrational medicine is based on the idea that a disease is a result of those natural frequencies or resonances getting out of tune or out of alignment, whether that's due to stress, illnesses, or even environmental factors for that matter. So every single thing has a frequency that includes illnesses, viruses, diseases, and even cancer, even abundance, enlightenment, joy. Every single thing has a frequency. Now, the higher vibrational frequencies are going to oscillate faster. So that's where you're in a state of joy, enlightenment, bliss, happiness. The lower vibrational frequencies are going to vibrate slower. That's going to be fear, dis-ease, cancer, illnesses, viruses, guilt, shame. And when they are in a lower vibrational state, they oscillate slower. So that's why when you feel like you're sick or you're in a job that you don't like, time goes so slow. But when you're in a higher vibrational state of joy or happiness, they say time flies when you're having fun. That's because the vibrational frequencies are oscillating much faster. So everything starts in the energetic body. So once a symptom has presented itself in the physical body, we have already created the vibrational frequency in the energetic body much earlier in time. So when we utilize this sound healing, how does it work? So many sound healers have been using tuning forks and singing bowls to alleviate many ailments, including headaches, misaligned vertebrae, stress, a whole variety of things. So, you know, using forks and bowls for anything other than dinner may seem to some like a little bit of a new age nonsense concept. But I do encourage you to learn more about this. Try it for yourself. Open your mind, expand your consciousness into these areas because you will be fascinated by how much healing can actually take place when you utilize these frequencies. So, sound can have a physiological effect because its vibrations are bathed and felt by the entire body, mind, and soul. So, the correct sound vibrations can lower your heart rate, it can relax brainwave patterns, and even reduce respiratory rates. Stress hormones decrease under these conditions, which is good news for all of us, right? But especially for people with a serious illness or disease. Healthcare is moving towards self care. So we have to begin to take control of our own health and learn more about it and not listen to that programming of ask your doctor if this works for you. Ask yourself if this works for you. If it resonates with you, then try it. Give it a shot. On my podcast here on the Existential Empath, I share a lot of expanded consciousness beliefs. However, I also have a YouTube channel called The Soul Cafe, and I during my healing journey, I shared a lot of the different kind of out of the box healing modalities that assisted me in moving through my own healing journey. So check that out if you haven't had a chance. I will leave the link in the description. But we are moving from healthcare into self care, and the humanization of medicine, in which the whole person is being treated, is beginning to take place. And when I was working for a hospital in Central Florida, right before I left that job, I began to notice they started to move towards a more holistic approach. So I do feel like the country is expanding in these areas. And I believe that, at least I'm talking about the United States here, I do believe that we are beginning to look at things from a more holistic approach. I was noticing in the ICU, Reiki masters were coming in and helping some of the patients. I know when I worked for hospice, they would have sound healers come in and Reiki masters. And I was noticing that these patients were feeling more alive and more vibrant. And you can really see it when you're working in those industries, and you notice when these hospitals are more open-minded to bringing in other modalities that are not of the societal norm. So sound therapy, in my opinion, is at the cutting edge of healing, and it seems like a new modality, but in actuality, it is a very ancient practice. So, are we learning it or are we remembering it? I personally believe we're remembering it, and we're going back to our roots of, basic elemental healing. The earth heals us, the earth tunes us in, right? So the truth is, you're probably already using sound therapy in your life without even recognizing it. Several years ago, 3 out of 4 people who responded to a Prevention Magazine health survey said that they listened to music to ease tension and stress. And of those, 82% reported it brought them significant relief. So if you utilize music to reduce your stress, then you're already utilizing sound therapy to heal. So even if you're not interested in investing in some fancy tuning forks or some singing bowls, uh, sound healing is automatically available to you, and you can find, you know, all of these things on YouTube, Rumble, any of those platforms. You can find different frequencies and tune into that and check it out for yourself. But there is a difference in holding a sound bowl and allowing that vibration to move through your body rather than just listening to it too. So there is a different aspect to the healing if you dive a little bit deeper into the sound therapy. So, the next time you need a little pick me up or a mellow out, hum, or better yet, go for a walk and enjoy nature's own healing harmonies. So I've talked about this in previous podcasts that the earth has a natural frequency, and it's called the Schumann resonance, and it vibrates at the same rate as the human brain. And so that's why we feel so amazing when we, step out into nature and we sit on the ground. It literally resets our human energetic system, and it's based off of a frequency. Some people can hear the hum of the Schumann resonance. They can hear the hum of the earth. I know my dad, is one who can hear that often. He's like, "What is that sound?" And he's tuning in to those subtle frequencies. So let me dive a little bit into the different sounds that heal and some of the common sound therapy techniques. So, a very simple one is classical music. Classical music has been shown to increase the rate of development of synaptic connections in young children's minds. It also helps fuel creativity and enhance joy in both adults and children. Classical music can even help address physical ailments like high blood pressure and muscle tension. So, Bach used what are called solfeggio frequencies. Now, they make up a six-tone music scale, and there's actually 9 of them, but the original was a six-tone music scale, which was first used in religious music all the way back into the 10th century. Music tuned to the frequency of this solfeggio scale is known to have healing properties and promote a better well-being. And evidence of these frequencies existed as far back as early biblical times, and all the way even back to ancient Egypt. So solfeggio, Solfeggio, frequencies are most commonly associated with the Gregorian chants. And if you practice yoga, then you're probably familiar with these chants. And I know I've heard them when I was in Turkey. They were playing them when I was in, I believe, Croatia too. I noticed that they were playing Gregorian chants at some of their temples. And these chants are a form of monophonic song, and it dates all the way back to the Roman Catholic Church and the 9th and 10th centuries when they used to utilize these chanting techniques. So here are 9 of the solfeggio frequencies and their benefits. So, and you can find these on YouTube. You can buy sound bowls or tuning forks that actually tune into these specific frequencies. So 174, 174 hertz removes pain in the body. 285 hertz influences the energetic field. 396 hertz liberates guilt and fear. So Nikola Tesla talked a lot about the 369 and how much it plays a role in our energetic system. Maybe I'll do a podcast on that because that's a deep dive in itself. But I encourage you to go research that. Nikola Tesla and the 369. It's fascinating. 417 hertz facilitates positive change. 432 hertz is the miracle tone of nature. It balances and resets the body. 528 hertz is known as the heart chakra frequency. It repairs DNA and returns it to its original state. 639 hertz heals relationships and balances out our connections. 741 hertz awakens intuition and opens our creative blocks. That's a good one to listen to if you're painting or if you're writing or if you're trying to do something creative. That's a really good one to listen to in the background. Now, some of these just have a pure tone where you're just listening to the tone, but many out there on YouTube, Rumble, a whole bunch of them, you can find where there's a nice natural background. So I've got one on right now. It's a river stream running and it's playing 528 hertz in the background. And you can very vaguely hear the tone. I hear mostly the river running, but my subconscious mind is picking up the tone, and that's what's important. 852 hertz awakens the spirit and calms the central nervous system. 963 hertz activates the pineal gland and connects us to our higher self. So those are fascinating. I listen to them all the time. I listen to them in the day. I listen to them at night while I sleep. I listen to them in the car. I have them all the way on all the time. So my body is totally in tune, and I utilize my muscle testing to see which one I need. So oftentimes with clients, if this particular topic comes up, I will muscle test with them to see specifically which one that they need. But you can just tap into your own intuition and see which one feels good, to you. Another way that sounds can heal is through humming. This is super easy too. Humming not only lifts your spirits, but it clears your head, it clears your mind. And according to a study conducted by a Swedish researcher and published in the American Journal of Respiratory and Critical Care Medicine, humming may actually help keep your sinuses clear and healthy. Not only that, it activates your pineal gland or your third eye to allow for a more even flow of intuition. If you're interested in learning more about how to activate your pineal gland, then I recommend, I've got two videos on my YouTube and two on my podcast that discuss different ways to activate your pineal gland. And I also offer some exercises too. And some of them include humming because it vibrates the top of the roof of your mouth, which is connected to your pineal gland. Another way that sounds can heal are through singing bowls. So whether they're metal or quartz, crystal, singing bowl will sing when you take a felt tipped mallet and you run it around the edge. And along with rhythms produced by, striking the edge of the bowl, the vibrations and tones will slow down your breathing, your brainwave states, and your heart rate. And it will produce a deep sense of calm and well being. So whether you're in the presence of a sound bowl, which are called sound baths. And I go to those often. I love them. They feel really good. You just kind of lay there. And oftentimes, the person facilitating the sound bath will move around the room and you can really feel your body vibrate. And it's just really a very relaxing experience. So if you have a sound bath in your area, check it out. There's a lot of them now because people are starting to tap into these new modalities. So there is a lot of people who are offering these. So check it out. Tuning forks is another way that sound can heal. And originally, tuning forks were used to tune in musical instruments to the proper pitch. And they have long been used by orthopedists to detect stress fractures in large bones. I remember that when I'd go to the doctor when I played basketball and I would sprain my ankle, all the time. They would use a tuning fork to see if my bone was broken. Now, sound therapists are using these vibrations of tuning forks to increase the amount of energy in parts of the body that they are trying to heal or energize. So these good vibes can support relaxation, balance the nervous system, and increase our physical energy too. So another way sound can heal is through yogic chanting or Gregorian chants and what's called oming. Okay, so chanting is also a means of maintaining health and well-being, and it dates all the way back to early BC. And research shows that chanting can stabilize our heart rate, lower our blood pressure, improve circulation, and produce endorphins that aid in the process of metabolism. So isn't that fascinating? Chanting can also help the mind focus, which alleviates stress. For example, repeating the syllable om. So, om is said to foster a deep mental clarity and promote a sense of connectedness with a higher power. So when you do the Om chant, you can actually feel it. You feel it vibrating up through your sinus cavity, up through the roof of your mouth, your whole head and neck. And what I do is I actually incorporate listening to 144 hertz with my headphones on, and I tune in to that Om frequency. And whoa, does it feel good? It feels good. Give it a shot. It's really powerful. So another way that sounds can heal are through what are called binaural beats. And binaural beats are when you listen to one frequency. Say you've got three, 9-6, liberating guilt and fear in the right ear, and then you've got 528 hertz repairing DNA in the left ear. So what it's doing is it's really synchronizing both hemispheres of the brain. And so when you listen to binaural beats, you really want to try to do it with headphones on because you can notice the difference, in that, and it will really balance you out. And there's so many out there that you can listen to. Another way that sound can heal is what's called rife frequencies, RIFE. So, you know, many people are trying to find a cure for cancer, yet it's still unknown, right? So, the fact that the cancer industry is making revenue off of more than $100 billion a year, and it's disappointing that we have not come up with a cancer cure yet. Hmm, question. Coincidence? Probably not. But did you know that there was a scientist who actually cured cancer back in 1934? And stories say that he was killed for his discoveries. His name was Raymond Rife, Dr. Raymond Rife, and he was born in late 1800s. And he is one of the greatest scientific geniuses of the 20th century. He contributed to a lot of technology in the area of optics, electronics, radiochemistry, biochemistry, ballistics, and even aviation. He was the man who created the first microbiotech telescope. And it was the first telescope to look into our cells, which I know in the hospitals, this is what they use in our labs. So, the fundamental research of Dr. Rife is the hallmark of this treatment approach. And his research in the early 1900s still stands out, and it has come down, throughout the years in the development of what are called Rife digital devices. And he basically realized that frequencies are waveforms and they're carried on light waves with a Tesla bulb, and it can affect the body, the physical body, in a variety of ways. So, during the 1920s and 30s, Dr. Rife produced some astounding accomplishments in medicine and biology, including a type of frequency generator based on his theories, and it could shatter bacteria, viruses, mold, and other pathogens responsible for a large number of illnesses. And he began looking for a cure for cancer in 1920. So in 1932, he managed to isolate a cancer microorganism known as the VX virus. And a year after, he designed the universal microscope that could magnify an object 60,000 times its normal size. So this dude was a serious genius. And his research proved that life forms oscillate at certain frequencies, which destroys organisms using a natural frequency without destroying any adjacent tissue. So he named this process mortal oscillatory rate, and he learned how to destroy it in a laboratory culture. And he went on to cure cancer in animals. So in 1934, the University of South California appointed a special medical research committee to bring 16 terminal cancer patients from Pasadena County Hospital to Rife's San Diego laboratory and in the clinic for treatment. And the team included doctors and pathologists assigned to examine the patients in 90 days. So Rife successfully, with these frequencies, cured 14 out of the 16 terminally ill cancer patients within 3 months of them listening to these frequencies. And the other two patients were cured after subsequent 6 weeks. So everybody was cured of cancer, the 16 patients. And despite his 100% cure rate, he was deprived of any acknowledgement for any of his accomplishments. It's almost like this was swept under the rug because the pharmaceutical industry wanted to step in, right? So, Rife frequencies are powerful vibrational alignment tones, and you can find them on not online or on YouTube. If you have a practitioner in the area, Google that. There's many people out there who have Rife frequency machines, and they will provide the service for healing, modalities. I love the YouTube channel. It's called Bioresonance, and they have several on there. You can kind of, weed through them and see which ones you like. And basically, what you're going to do is you listen to them a couple of times a day, I believe once in the morning and once at night. Try it for 7 days and see if you notice a difference. I would definitely suggest journaling it. Um, if you are interested in doing this. And you can listen to different ones at different times. You want to make sure you're drinking plenty of water because any vibrational medicine, you want to be able to move toxins or pathogens, viruses, whatever throughout the body with ease. So I always highly suggest anytime you do any sound healing to drink plenty of water before and plenty of water after. It's very similar to a massage. It's like you're just kind of moving things throughout the body. So I, feel like this was a pretty good surface deep dive into sound healing and therapies. And I hope that, maybe you learned something from this, or, I encourage you to go give it a try. See if you can find a sound bath in your area and just see how it works, see if it resonates with you. And, it was a pleasure sharing all this information with you, and I look forward to sharing more with you in the future. You deserve to navigate your life as an empath in alignment with health, happiness, and abundance. To learn more about the services that I provide, including Beyond Quantum Healing Hypnosis, EFT tapping, and the Emotion Code, visit my website at www.thesoulcafe.org.